Hi, this is Shakira.
And this is Lia,
We're cooking up a great conversation.
starting with a cup of insights,
Add a tablespoon of fun.
a slice of drama,
Drama. A pinch of salt.
para may konting alat, and lots of pepe.
Siyempre, may anghang.
Welcome to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Happy Pride. Welcome back to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Hi everyone! Yes, happy Pride! My name is Lia, as if hindi nyo kilala, no? Hi!
Ako din,
Welcome.
malay mo. It's their first time tuning in, right? So,
Yes, that's true. You did introduce yourself?
hi, I'm Shakira, just in case you're not tired of our faces yet.
Yes. And yes, happy Pride! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I don't know. I mean, before May, siguro meron akong maybe just a year, parang pride fatigue. Pero when I realized it, hindi eh.
Well, you're very active in pride events kasi because of your work, right? So, I guess that's why meron kang pride fatigue.
No, I think it's just 1 year. I don't know. Parang nawalan ako ng gana. Maybe siguro naging sobrang commercial. Parang ganon. And parang I realized na parang, you know what, it's part of it. I mean, you know, it helps naman kahit papaano. It grew. Diba?
It's a different kind of pride, don't you think, from when we were younger, right? Kasi I guess nakakainis nga actually minsan parang nasa Target na yung mga Pride merchandise. You know, it's like para na siyang mainstream event na parang siyang Memorial Day or yeah, it's different. It's different now. I mean, it's different for us, but it's actually different in a good way for young people
Yes.
na
That's true.
ordinaryo na siya. It's not
And yes,
something na parang kinakatakutan or, you know.
yes. Pero yun nga, if we really think about it, we still, you know, pride is still protest, diba? Pero yun nga, it's different. But I wanna tell you something. So I was looking in my Facebook feed. Tapos parang, syempre, in the Philippines, nagsa-start na rin yung celebration. It's already something people look forward to.
Mhm.
And you know what? Parang last year, Kia, we wouldn't believe. I don't know if you saw it on your feed also. Ilan nag-attend dun sa Quezon City
Yeah.
Pride last year.
Diba? Parang record numbers na yan, right?
110,000 last year.
Grabe.
Grabe, imagine, ako 10,000 pa lang, sobrang na akong natutuwa. 110. Kaya, if you can tell them, mga ilan, ikaw, when we did the UP Safo Pride, mga ilan you think were there?
I don't know, 300.
Oh, piling ko pa less pa eh.
Diba?
Diba?
Kasi parang tayo,
Exactly.
parang 15 lang ata ba tayo or may mga 10.
10.
Right? Let's say, yung mga talagang nagmamarch. Let's say 200, probably
Yes,
generous, right?
Exactly. Imagine pa
Right.
yung before us pa. I mean, yun parang nag-gather na
Yeah.
talaga, di ba? Before that, a handful lang ata. And nun, wala pang masyado. Tanod pa ata ang I mean, like, the security is like tanod pa ata. Alam mo yun,
Yeah.
hindi pa ganon. And
Hindi
we
pa
just
siya
like,
organized. It's interesting. So yeah, again, it's different in a good way. You
True.
know, it's nice that we have that now. It's a popular event. It's really celebrated, but don't forget your roots, young ones, and where that came from, because I think hindi yun mangyayari if not for the brave ones from a long, long time ago.
Yes,
Right? Kasi dati,
exactly.
kinakatakutan pa yung pride na yan eh, di ba?
Oo,
May
nakamaskara pa
mga,
nga ako, no?
nakamaskara ka pa? I
One
didn't, I
time.
can't, I
Yeah.
can't imagine na kloseta ka. Bakit? Saan ka ba nagtuturo nun?
Sa isang school na bawal talaga ang maging guest.
Oh,
Nasa clause talaga
wow.
siya. As in,
Oh,
parang
wow. I
mischievous,
didn't even think
whatever.
na merong time na naging closeted ka because nga ang cool ng family mo. But I
Oo,
guess
it's
sa
the workplace.
workplace, that's interesting.
Exactly, di ba?
Alam
Malay mo ba,
ko,
si Mark Logan, makita pa ako dun sa EBS, dun sa funny commentary part
I
ng
remember,
TV Patrol.
pinagawayan ko pa yan ng ex ko. 1X because ayaw niyang mag-march. Ako naman, ang ano ko, I guess I couldn't understand. Tapos parang, basta pinag-awayan pa namin yan. But, sorry na, kung nakikinig ka man, sorry na, alam ko masaya ka na ngayon. Kung nasan ka man, diyan ka na lang. Pa
Anyways,
nag-intro.
'di ba? Pero happy Pride.
Happy
That's
Pride, everyone! Before we go into the meat of our episode, just some feedback on our last episode. You know what? I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed making that episode and listening to it. I think that we did such a meaningful thing, sharing our experiences of grief, right? Kahit na
yes.
casual lang yang, kahit na casual lang yung discussion natin, I think it was very meaningful. We're not professionals. We just, always just sharing our experiences. So I'm glad that it's helpful to others. And if hindi nyo pa napapakinggan, just, tune in to our last episode, episode 9 on grief. I think there's some very important things to learn from that, right?
That was really a good episode. I really, yes, the things that came up and the things that we discussed,
Mhm.
it was really a good episode. Yes, so if you haven't listened to that episode, listen to it. It's good.
All right. So, kicking off Pride Month, we wanted to discuss something that we feel is fundamental to queer people or the LGBTQIA community.
Yeah, so our relationships with our bodies is very important because isn't this the typical turning point in our feelings about ourselves? When did you first feel that there might be something, off in your sexuality or at least feeling of being different? Ikaw.
Hmm. You know, we came up with this topic, I think, particularly because we both have a lot to share in about this topic. And when you're young, I think the first things that you notice are about yourself. So I have a cuento from like my childhood, because I remember a time when um I always like to play with boys because it just seemed like they were having much more fun than the girls. Parang yung girls nasa loob lang sila ng bahay or kung ano man yung
Agree.
nilalaro, mga dolls or whatever, na parang ang boring naman. Gusto ko yung habulan, gusto ko yung umakyat ng puno. So I was always playing with boys, and I had one classmate who also liked to play with the boys. So pareho kaming dalawa, always just running around kung ano man, agawan base, cops and robbers, basta kung ano man yung nilalaro ng guys, soccer or whatever, yun yung nilalaro namin. So, um, I just noticed one day, my friend started to wear a bra. So, all the boys just started teasing her. Yung hinihila nila yung bra sa likod from the shirt and then snapping it, tapos hinahabol siya. Basta just making fun of her, I guess, because it was something different and boys are just like, they don't know what to do. But then that had an effect on me kasi parang feeling ko ito na. That symbol of the bra means it's the end. Kasi parang yun na yung signifier na, oh, we're girls. We're not really guys. And maybe we have to be separated na from the boys. Basta meron siyang, I just remember that moment clearly. Yung meron siyang subconscious implication sa akin na that's the end of fun because only boys were allowed to have fun. I didn't really like, what the girls were doing. But then, parang sa akin, the bra is the symbol of my world as a fun-loving child was going to end. So that's the beginning of my cuento. How about you? When did you first notice that you didn't fit into the mold of a typical girl?
So again, no, when we're talking about our topics, syempre flashback na
Mhm.
naman. And I
Mhm.
realize, wow, again, in my family, the Esteba, that's my mom's side, gender was really not something that was emphasized talaga. Like, oh, kailangan ganito ka, you have to do this, ganyan. So, even me growing up, I never owned a clip or a headband in my whole life. My mom always wanted my hair short. You know, when I
Mm.
forgot, I was supposed to ask her why. But I think because my hair was too thick, parang feeling niya hindi niya maayos, something like that. But totally, it was nothing that we talked about or we had to be a certain way.
Mhm.
Because nga my lolo would tell daw his friends, I have 8 boys. Kasi nga, play again. We just love to play. So, for your question, it's really school. Parang
Mhm.
that's where I found the
Mhm.
difference na parang, oh, nga no, I'm not like them. Like I don't my hair is not fixed that way
Mhm.
or it's just different. Parang hindi ako katulad nila.
Mhm.
Although my mom brought me to ballet class. I had ballet
Uh-huh.
class. She wanted me to do tap dance pa nga daw or something like that. So talagang a mix. But of course, my tita, because my mom would also travel on her own when she wants to. So my tita man would dress me up naman talaga like them. Like, kasi nga my tita was boyish. So, yun nga, Hawaiian shirt sila, Hawaiian shirt din ako. So, I
Cute
grew up
naman.
talagang different talaga. And then my lola in the Roque side is a dressmaker, so a modista. So, she would make clothes naman na dresses.
Mhm.
So, really depends
Naka-dress
who
ka din.
I'm
Penging
dressed.
picture
Ay, sige.
and post natin.
Marami akong dress na kasi nga my lola every time I go somewhere to them talagang, "Okay, Lia, let's fit." Lagi talaga ako mini-measure. Every time meron na talaga akong measure.
Cute!
Sobrang cool ng lola ko. So, and then after that, after i-measure, siguro after a month, meron na akong mga dresses. So, my dresses would come from my lola. So, yun. So, it's really with school. Dun ko lang nakita yung difference. Pero it really didn't bother me. Parang kasi it was not really something that we thought of.
Mhm.
Diba? It was not something that was, yeah, talked about in the family.
Mhm.
And that is. So, in your young mind, what were the conclusions of theories you had naman?
Well, ako, I had two older sisters. You know, my
Yeah.
parents, hindi naman sila sobrang nag-impose ng gender roles, you know. Actually, they were pretty hands-off in our upbringing. So really, yung mga like influences around us were just like other employees of the family or mga tita, ganyan. So, but I did know that, you know, my sisters had long hair, so I always had long hair. And my clothes were always hand-me-downs. So, even though ayoko nang nagde-dress, right? But, you know, those were the clothes that were available to me. So yun yung susuotin ko, but it wasn't my favorite. But I just also knew that I wasn't really a typical girl. You know, parang you just have that feeling kasi na iba ka. What you like is different from what other girls like. So, continuing the story from earlier. So, yung nga, after that bra moment, I really internalized that experience that I really believe na pag na-confirm na nakabra ka at saka nagdadalaga ka na, parang it's really the end of fun. So, I was really so afraid nung time na kailangan ko na din magbra na pag may nakakita na nakabra ko, they're going to tease me. And they're going to say, "Naku, dalaga ka na." And then lalabas na lahat ng mga rules, yung wag kang ganito, hindi ka makakapag-asawa, you know, they're not going to like you if you behave a certain way, you know. So, ang ginawa ko, like when I did have to wear a bra, I wanted to wear sando and a shirt on top of the bra and then my school uniform. Kasi parang, it's sobrang imagined yung phobia ko kasi who's looking? Who is looking through my uniform and through my sando and through my t-shirt? Talagang meron talaga ako ano na, wag, hindi talaga dapat makita yung bra. I have a memory of this one time na I think naubusan ako ng sando at saka shirt. And then I guess I said I have to wear this bra, this stupid bra that they bought for me. I guess I have to wear it. Talagang nagsuot ako ng windbreaker na malaking windbreaker na yellow. Tapos, hindi ko siya tinanggal the whole day kasi ayokong may
Oh,
makita na nakabra ko. Imagine, ang sobrang
init.
init ako dun sa windbreaker just because ayokong makita na nakabra ko. Like, I'm like,
Oh,
what was I thinking? Ano ba yung ini-imagine ko na parang, is it like life or death? Death sentence na ba yun? Na parang, ayoko na may magsasabi na parang, uy, nakabra ka, as if naman that's all they think about, right? So, it's very interesting to think about that kung bakit may stigma sa akin yung bra, and when I think about it now, I don't think I wanted to be a boy. Pero nainis ako ng konti dun sa the boobs part and the fact na magsusuot ako ng bra kasi parang that's the proof na iba ka, na that's the indication of femininity, and then parang you have to automatically feel like, fulfill like a certain, expectation, or parang fit into a box of what a girl or a woman should be. So parang I guess I really was thinking that, being a woman is like the end of life as I knew it. So puro restriction ang ibig sabihin sa akin kasi noon. Like your life is laid out for you. Society has expectations for you, you
Yes.
know. So I was really trying to delay it for as long as possible. In my mind, kung hindi ma-confirm na dalaga ka na, I can still go on as
And
being
play.
this happy child and play. Right? So parang inisip ko, parang ang sad kaya nung reality na yun as a child na parang feeling
Mhm.
mo, oh, it's the end of fun because you're a girl. So, in like I think nagkaroon tuloy ako ng parang kainisan sa boobs ko that I was always trying to hide it. When I think about it, I really don't think that I wanted to be a boy, but that symbol of femininity, ayoko siya because it had so many implications. And siguro in-overthink ko na siya or whatever. But then I like learned to like, hide my boobs. Siguro that's also why I have really bad posture. I don't like to call attention to my body. I don't want to be caught like being vain or yung ayaw na ayoko nung time na yun na may makakakita sa akin na I'm fixing my face or my hair kasi parang it's like a girly thing. I just wanted to be left alone like the boys were left alone. Parang I guess I didn't want to be a boy, but I wanted the freedom that they had. I wanted to
Yes.
be seen like boys na walang expectation. Parang bahala ka kung madungis ka. They don't
Yes.
care kasi pag boys eh. Wala
Totoo.
silang pake, madungis ka, maglaro ka, hindi ka umuwi or whatever. They didn't care. But if you're a girl, everybody cares. Ang daming sasabihin sa'yo, right? So, I grew up with a brother who's very close in age to me. So it was very evident to me how that changed, how being a woman or, in maturing as a young woman changed the treatment of people, like their treatment of me. And then parang it's like a sentence to like misery. And wala naman akong positive role model sa bahay na masayang, like happy women. It just seemed like,
Yeah.
kailangan you just have to follow rules, even though I had very strong sisters who would tell me nga that, you can be whatever you want to be, but still, there wasn't like a firm example na it can still be fun to be a
True.
woman. So it's an interesting experience, and I'm really happy for this topic kasi parang nag-reflect ako about those experiences. So when you started feeling different nga because of school, how do you think like the people around you reinforced those ideas that you had?
It really, of course, in my school, Catholic, 'di ba? And the nuns,
Mhm.
of course, you have to be a certain way,
Yeah.
right? As a woman, as a lady, right? Although cool din yung school namin because we sat anywhere. We sat on the road, we sat on the pavement. I don't know why, but that was part of our school na sobrang okay din naman. Hindi na siya girly-like. Pero,
Mhm.
pero ako-agree din ako noon na parang boys can really do whatever they want. Tapos
Mhm.
sabihin, kasi lalaki yan. Yun pa yun, di ba?
'Di
Parang,
ba?
yun pa
Walang
yung
mawawala.
reasoning.
Yung mga gano'n na parang it's
Ay,
so toxic, 'di ba?
frustrating. Yes. So with that reinforced nga, because I think it's the elders, it's our culture, right? Na parang we have to emulate Maria Clara, and it's really colonization na and also our standard of beauty, 'di ba? If
Mhm.
we look like our ancestors,
Mhm.
like the Aitas or something, ano yun, low na yun, 'di ba? Parang low class ka na, Indio ka na,
Mhm.
parang ganon. So, um, we really had to put up our standards because dapat ganun ang babae, mestiza, Maria Clara,
Mhm.
and it was enforced by the elders. And sadly nga, it's sometimes your parents, right? Your titos, your titas, lahat in your family.
Mhm.
So we were told to behave a certain way, to look a certain way, because nga we were ladies. So,
Oh.
'di ba? That's so and then of course, hindi lang 'yon, if you look in media, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Everything really really dictates
Mhm.
what a woman should be during our time talaga.
Right.
There's no role model, there's walang mga rebelde pa masyado that time. Although I'm sure meron, but they were really frowned upon. 'Di ba? Parang, "Ay, wag mong gagayahin 'yan," ganyan.
Mhm.
Like Sinead O'Connor, 'pag nag-shave siya, parang shocking na 'yon, 'di ba? Na parang it's really something that the elders frown upon. So with that, ikaw, how did you think society naman affected your body image as a future queer person?
Hmm. Siyempre hindi ko pa alam na tibam ako, right? But
Yeah.
going back to what you said, we can't really blame our elders during that time kasi para sa kanila, you needed to do this to be successful in the world as a woman, right? Kasi parang during that time, your success still was very much dependent on the partner that you would get,
Yes.
and that's, dictates your success in life. So kung hindi ka makapag-asawa, that was still like a big thing back then. Kung
Scary
walang
pa.
magkagusto sa'yo or whatever, like there was always this fear. But for me, I think I talked about this in K Talk also, how the voices around me in my childhood had an impact on me. Like I was very gender non-conforming. I was very boyish, malikot, probably like you, like to run around, climb trees, play with boys. I love trucks. I didn't like dolls. I didn't like dresses. I played soccer. I was the only girl on the team. I played with my brother. So it was always obvious that I was doing boy things, So palit pa lang ako, parati na ako nasasabihan that the way I was acting was not gonna be good for me. It's not gonna be good as a girl to if I keep doing those things. Playing sports is not good. Climbing trees is not good. Yung getting cuts, and most importantly, ruining my legs with peklat, it's not good. And I already had a lot. Bata pa lang ako because nga malikot, and the way I would play, parating ang dami ko ng peklat kaagad. And I was always criticized for that. When I think about it now, parang ang lungkot kasi, di ba? Kasi parang, inaano ba kayo ng bata? And then parang pinag-iinitan nyo na, parang ano kayan, puro peklat, walang magkakagusto sa'yo. Parang 5 years old ka pa lang, feeling mo napaka undesirable mo na just because meron kang peklat. It was a big thing. At saka yung wag kang iitim, right? Because they were always saying na, oh, you have to stop playing soccer kasi iitim ka and it's not good. Also, magkaka-muscles yung legs. Teachers yung nagsasabi sa akin noon,
Oh
Kasi I
gosh.
remember there was a time na there was a tournament sa soccer and my brother and I were on the team. Tapos yung circular na papasign mo sa parents, I give my son permission to play in the tournament. Walang daughter. Kasi nga wala nga sumasali sa soccer team na the girl, ako lang. So, nung binigay ko sa parents ko, nakalagay son. Tapos sabi na, nakalagay dito son. Tapos ako, well, I'm playing soccer. So, they said, cross it out, the son, and put daughter. Tapos nakita ni older sister ko si Mirza. Sabi niya, oh, you better go to the principal and tell her not to be sexist.
That's
Siyempre, ano pala ako, grade 4 lang ata ako. Doon pumunta
exactly.
talaga ako sa principal. Kasi ako, my parents signed this, but it only says son and not daughter, so we crossed it out. And don't be a sexist.
Talaga sasabihin, 'di ba?
Siguro sila parang, oh shit, kasi even that time, that was rare to say, especially
Yes.
for a child. And so wala silang choice kung hindi, payagan ako maglaro. Like, at least to go to the tournament. But in the end, I don't think pinalaro ako, or parang pinalaro ako 5 minutes lang or something. Because nakita ko ng mga boys dun sa kabilang team. And then, nung umpisa pa lang, before I started playing, pinag-iinitan na ako nung sinasabi nila na, o, titirahin namin ka. O, yung tinatakot ako or whatever. So, but anyway, basically, to prove na yun talaga yung gusto kong gawin. But still, um, even if the concept of marriage or relationships or even boys or life partners was still so far away from my mind. Parati
Yeah.
na akong tinatakot ng mga tao that I would be, I was doomed to be alone in life, all because I was boyish. Walang magkakagusto sa'yo and whatever, right? And it's so tragic and so sad. Like, if you think about it now in the modern context, di ba, parang imagine just saying to a kid na naglalaro lang ng soccer, walang
Exactly.
magkakagusto sa'yo. Like, nobody says that anymore. It's actually very encouraged now, right? So parang nung time na yun, parang sinabi talagang I'm doomed just because I
Oo.
like to play sports. So nung yun na nga, nagdadalaga na, it became tragic to me. Nilabanan ko talaga siya until the end. But then, naka-ingrain na nga sa akin yung walang magkakagusto sa'yo. And that meant, like, that was the measure of my worth, kung may magkagusto sa akin or hindi. So then, it became my mission to prove na meron ngang magkakagusto sa akin as me. So even though I feel like it was so obvious that I was going into the in direction of being gay, pinilit ko talaga maging straight. Kasi nga sabi nila, you like boys won't like you. So parang sabi ko, oh, I guess boys have to like me. I'm not saying na I would like girls, but it wasn't an option. And parang naging standard na nga siya na kung hindi, walang magkagusto sa yung boys, that's it. But I wasted so much time trying to be straight kasi nga, yung standards, so nakakainis. Parang, kawawa din yung mga guys, right? Kasi pinilit ko talaga. So I was just breaking their hearts kasi wala talaga akong paki sa kanila. But I had to prove nga na, no, you're going to like me. Because that shows that I have value. So
Wow.
I realized that I could use my appearance and also my body to attract boys. Did it make me happy? Not really, because I didn't really like their attention. I just needed it, I guess, because of that standard. But it was acceptable to society. So I think by the time na I realized and accepted that I might be gay and became determined to pursue my gay side, that's the only time that I really found happiness and acceptance from others and also for myself. And then I developed a different set of standards na wasn't the one that was imposed on me, na hindi na siya based on whether may magkagusto sa akin na guy or not. So hindi na pala kailangan sumunod sa rules and expectations of society. We can make our own. I guess that's the advantage also, at least during that time, right, of being gay or at least coming out. Kasi wala pa siyang set rules. It's such a new thing.
Yes.
Right? So parang, oh, bahala ka, you're going to make your own. Ngayon kasi meron na kasi it's so mainstream. So meron ng standards, meron ng, oh, you expect this in a relationship or whatever. But during that time, parang, okay, I don't like society's standards, so I'm going to make my own.
'Di ba?
So right,
So,
so super long story.
I was thinking of your story again. Again, I'm happy with my family kasi nga, again, if I really think about the stories about kailangan maging maputi ka. In our family, kapag maputi ka, parang, oh no, you have to go under the sun, pumuputi ka na kadire. Ganon. So, para kasi, for us, if you're not dark, that means you're not
You're
going to
not
the
having
beach.
fun.
Yes, you're not playing, you're not going to the beach, you're inside the house, you're boring, ganon. So,
Oh.
pag pumuputi na kami, parang, oh my gosh, I have to go to the beach. Ganon. Parang
That's good.
yucks. And then, because it was really, again, not something that was really emphasized, or we didn't hear about, being careful, or, masugatan ka. Sa amin,
Mhm.
okay, sugat, we're tayo late, ganon.
Yeah.
Eh, you wanted to play ganon. And like climbing trees, that was my mom, sila kasi meron pa sila mga horses dun sa Antipolo or something
Mhm.
in Baguio. So they would really ride horses. Sa panahon namin wala na kaming dun na kaming beach eh. So growing up really is so different, na yun nga, it wasn't something, yung gender roles was really not part of us growing up.
That's so
Um,
nice.
it's really about society. So pag nandun ka, dun mo nafe-feel na parang, I think I'm different.
Yeah. But you hear
Parang,
it from outside your family, 'di ba? Kasi sa family namin, we don't also hear na yung iitim ka.
yes.
We don't hear that. At saka kunyari, nung punta kami sa beach, paitiman talaga
'Di
kami.
ba?
Like, my sisters would actually like put Coke or mineral oil or
Yes!
whatever.
I
My
love
mom was
that.
always tanning. I really love to swim. So, they didn't
Society
care. Tas parang,
talaga.
ibig sabihin nun, ang dami mong swimming time at saka beach time. But outside, parati ko narinig yung huwag kang magpapaitim or whatever. Tapos ako parang,
'Di ba? From your
nakakapagod naman. Nakakapagod naman yung yung bawal umitim. May Philippines kaya to, iitim ka talaga.
Oo, and then your teachers, that happened to me also. So I was coaching, right? So parang I really had good players, but a mom didn't want her daughter to play softball anymore because she was getting dark. I was just like, oh, I couldn't explain. I had to tell her, Mom, your daughter's really a good softball player and she's happy playing, because you can see, coach, yun talaga yung face na parang
Oh, yeah, yeah.
devastated, na parang gusto ko maglaro talaga pero yung mommy ko ayaw niya. Sabi ko, "Do you want me to talk to your mom?" Kasi siyempre you don't want, siyempre kakabahan naman sila, 'di ba? Na parang, at I'm sure if kinausap ko yung mommy at home, papagalitan siya nung anak, 'di ba?
Mhm,
Na
mhm.
parang kinausap ako
Bakit
ng coach, o bakit
nagsusumbong?
gano'n? Oo, 'di ba?
Pakikialam.
Exactly. That's why I
So,
had to ask,
anong
you have to
nangyari?
ask the players kung okay lang sa'yo. Eh, well, matapang naman yung kid, so naglaro pa rin siya.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah.
Akala ko nagpapigil siya, kawawa naman.
Hindi naman. Eh, kasi kailangan ko siya sa team 'no, sinabi ko rin naman eh, kailangan ko siya eh. Parang siya na yung part ng team eh. So anyway, so it's so interesting talaga what society does. I think okay din yung school din. Parang wala rin pakialam yung mga classmates ko din dun, or
Mhm,
yung mga teachers. So it was good growing up naman na not thinking of that. For me naman, it's just the girls kasi like boys.
mhm,
So I think I wanted to be a boy. I said that to the last
mhm,
podcast,
mhm,
'di ba? But eventually I just discovered, you know what? I really don't want to be a boy. Maybe
mhm.
sometimes I just hate my boobs. It's blocking. Although I don't really have big boobs, or I hate it that I have a period. I wish I don't have it, but it's part of being a woman, so that's fine. So I know, Kia, you wanted to talk about dysphoria during this episode. So what did you find in your research?
So, I know that gender dysphoria is always part of like a queer person's life. It always goes hand in hand when we talk about queer bodies. Kasi nga, something is not like, we are not typical, and we know that we're different. So I did some research and I actually found this really interesting podcast. I know parati ako nagre-research ng podcast, but
What's
because it's
nice?
fun.
Fine. Yes.
But I found this podcast. It's called Gender, a Wider Lens. So it's hosted by two therapists. They specialize in gender, teens, and transition. So two therapists, Stella O'Malley and Sasha Ayad. I think one is in the US and one is in UK. So just some basics on gender dysphoria. It's the definition comes from the DSM, which is Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It's considered a disorder, but it defines dysphoria as clinically significant distress or impairment related to gender incongruence. So basically, like whatever gender identity or whatever sexual characteristics you're developing, not necessarily you don't like it, but it's causing you some
Mm.
kind of distress or anxiety or something. Not necessarily like you're trans, but something is like something's happening to your body and you don't like it. So ibig sabihin nun, whatever it is, that happened to me. I was growing breasts, I was becoming a woman, nilalabanan ko talaga siya. So I want to emphasize that I'm not talking about the trans experience, although some trans people might relate to this conversation. I don't want to speak for trans people because I'm not trans, but I feel like I did experience a certain level of dysphoria when I was coming to terms with my sexuality. So the podcast actually wanted to emphasize also that, dysphoria, just like any other condition or disorder, the definition changes through time, just like we're adding a lot of letters in our LGBTQIA acronym because, umbrellas getting wider. It's the same thing. Conditions and diagnoses, they change, and the criteria changes with time. So I think now that we're learning more about dysphoria, then we know that it doesn't just apply to trans people. It actually affects uh more people than we originally thought. And I experienced that too. So ikaw ba, like, did you experience something like this, gender dysphoria, or parang just like that feeling na something's different, or I'm not happy, or I'm stressed about this development? Just like you mentioned earlier, nakakainis yung boobs, or sana wala akong period, something like that. Have you experienced that?
Yes, that part lang na parang it's just an annoyance, but I I knew it was part of being female.
Mhm,
But it did not give me naman stress,
mhm.
'di ba? It didn't make me feel na parang questioning some things or bakit gano'n or naiinis ka or something like that. It's just that maybe that hate of that particular day, especially when you have pain, cramps, yung
Yeah.
because ito na yun, it's about being female eh, 'di ba? I have so much activities. Having your period really makes you stop. You know, you're not in that
Yeah.
mood eh. There's a mood, 'di ba? It's just so annoying, but you learn to live with it. So for me, it's just really, I think it's adolescence.
Mhm,
Yung
mhm,
transitioning from,
mhm.
yun na, suddenly I have pimples. I have,
Uh,
things that body odor, lahat na ng transition na
yeah.
parang,
Mhm,
what's happening to me, 'di
mhm.
ba? Na parang, yun yan sa akin. That's why I like din sa amin. It's not about being ladylike. It's just taking care of your body, proper hygiene, yung gano'n. Yun lang
Uh-huh.
naman yung
Mhm,
nire-remind sa atin, 'di ba?
mhm,
Pero yun nga yung annoying part, it's adolescence, I think.
mhm,
Yung na-feel ko nung part na yun. But sa akin talaga is just, yun nga, as I said nga, girls like boys. Yun ang alam ko lang. Girls just like boys and girls don't like girls. Yun lang yun. But I like girls. I want girls to like me too.
mhm,
'Di ba? So, I didn't want to be a boy, but it's weird, right? I love dressing up masculine.
mhm.
I think it's cute. I think I'm
Yeah.
pretty and I can't imagine myself in a dress. Kasi
Mhm,
parang feeling ko ang uncomfortable. You have to sit a certain way.
mhm,
When you're in a dress, you have to stand a certain way.
mhm.
You can't move so much and and you have to wear specific shoes. I don't like high heels. 'Di ba? I mean, magde-dress ka sa naka-rubber shoes ka, 'di ba? Para kasi I like fashion too, right? So, it
Yeah.
has to match your shoes. So,
Mhm,
and I like masculine wear. So, I don't think I've ever had that feeling of yung distress naman.
mhm.
So I think that's why talagang I know talaga girl talaga ako. Pero
The
and I'm
You
a
don't.
butch girl. That's it.
Oh, okay. So you were never, I don't want to say confused, but you never like felt like you were the wrong gender. Assign the
Yeah,
wrong gender.
I don't, or hindi siya naging, I was just thinking, maybe should I wanna be a boy because I like girls? Parang
Mm-hmm.
gano'n
Uh-huh.
yung confusion part is because of me liking girls.
Mm-hmm.
Parang yun yung confusion part ko na because nga
Mm-hmm.
we thought that if you're a boy, you like girls. If you're a girl, you like boys. Ayun pala,
Oh,
our
yeah.
genitals don't think for us. It's our brain. So yun. So hindi talaga.
Yeah.
So wala yung with the body, it's just really the transition of adolescence that I really didn't like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, actually, sabi nga dun sa podcast na a lot of these feelings, they come up during puberty and
Yeah.
adolescence kasi nga things are changing. Things are changing, your body's changing, your feelings, you're more emotional. And then you start to realize again the divide between, like, male and female, or now if you're, non-binary, which is good na meron ng ganun kasi dati you really have to choose. There's no
Yeah.
non-binary, like you just have to choose, so
True.
uh fortunately, I also learned in the podcast that how gender dysphoria is being addressed
Mhm.
now,
So how is
which
it?
I also wanted to mention, because I learned that there are different pathways in addressing this incongruency, is what they call, which I like. I really like that term actually, because hindi siya parang mismatch. It's just
Yes.
incongruent,
Hindi
like
lang.
something is not, but not completely like away, So um there's there's a push to affirm one's gender identity versus their assigned sex at birth, like, people who maybe they're trans, or they have feelings that they were assigned the wrong gender at birth. And so sometimes the push is more towards just aligning with what you're feeling or what your gender identity is. But according to the psychologist, this doesn't hold a lot of space for changing feelings about that, because sometimes, like when what we went through when we like girls, parang okay, should I be a boy? Right? Kasi parang feeling mo yun lang yung choice. So
Yes.
sometimes you might feel like yun yung choice. So I guess should I transition, or yun na kaagad. But sometimes things change just like it changed for us. So I'm glad that we weren't boxed into that na parang singular path na, oh, I guess I have to be a boy now, right? So um what I really liked about this podcast episode is that they emphasize that when you're feeling the gender dysphoria, it really depends on the kind of care that you find, or the kind of healthcare professional that you approach. Because if you go to a doctor, they might immediately give you a medical solution. Right. So kung kunyari feeling mo, oh shit, think I might be a boy, or I'm more boyish. Some doctors might be like, okay, so then let's give you medications or hormones so that it aligns with your identity. But if you go to, like, a therapist, they might say, oh, what's giving you distress, and how can we address that? How can we either help you cope with the reality of you might feel like a boy, or you don't feel like a typical girl, or is there something wrong with society? So I like that there were different ways of addressing it, and it's not just boxed into like, oh, I feel like I might be a boy, or I don't really feel like I'm a girl, na parang isa lang yung solution. There's other solutions, so it's not something that actually has to be fixed right away. Like, sometimes you don't have to even fix yourself. Maybe it's reality that needs to be fixed. Maybe it's
Society.
society that needs to be fixed, So the conversation that they had in that episode, it resonated with me because again, I'm not trans. I don't want to speak for the trans experience. But in my personal experience, I wanted to be a boy because I was comfortable being a boy, meaning playing, not caring about how I looked, being able to wear whatever I wanted, like not caring and not being picked on and given these rules. That's what I thought being a boy was. And then women always had a submissive role that I didn't identify with. We had all these rules. So to me, ayoko maging ganun. Bakit? Why would you choose that? It's so restrictive. So parang sa akin, I guess that means I should be a boy, or I should have been a boy because that's how I feel. Femininity was a big negative to me. And it's true for me universally, like, wala akong nakikitang parang women having fun and proud of it, or women na parang skinhead or short hair even, that they were accepted and thought of as beautiful. So I'm so glad that for me, I learned that it was society that was wrong, and not me, and not my gender assigned at birth. It was everybody else that was wrong. I didn't really want to be a boy. I wanted male privilege, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
um I wanted the male status. I wanted to claim my power, but it wasn't available to women as far as like I could see. No woman was claiming that. No woman was around saying, I'm just gonna play for as long as I want. I don't care if I get dirty. I don't care. Wala kasi akong nakikitang ganun eh. Parang everybody was always just like, oy, wag kang ganyan. Kababae mong tao. I would hear that all the time, kababae mong tao, right? So I'm so glad that when I was feeling that way, um, there was nothing that was pushed on me to say, oo nga, just be a boy. Because I
Mhm.
didn't really want to be a boy. I'm glad that I didn't fight my body. I'm glad that I fought society instead. So um did I feel distress about my body? Uh I feel like that part with the bra, I was distressed about the change that was happening to me and what that meant for me as a girl, and how much fun I would not be having. So, in effect, parang breasts or a bra was a symbol of the end of the world. Like you, when I started to date girls, I became frustrated that some girls wanted me to have a male body. 'Di ba? Kasi nga, parang that's what they know, or that's what's expected in society. So in expecting me to have a male body, I'm glad I didn't want to change my body, and I'm really glad that I didn't. And I did I at least I wasn't exposed to that option, because I really wasn't trans. I'm glad that later on I discovered and met partners who would love me as a woman and enjoy my body as a woman and affirm my own love for my body. So that's the good part. And I wanted to bring that up because sometimes I feel like we lean towards like easier solutions. And I've encountered experiences of lesbians, not trans men, who feel like the only path is to be a man kasi nga walang option that you can be a woman loving woman. you know I'll
Mhm.
discuss that more later, but I know, since I've known you for such a long time, I know you've always loved your body, Miss Bikini Girl. So you mentioned earlier that you started dating girls who were straight, or they were used to male partners. So I want to know how you developed that confidence and love for yourself.
Yun nga, again, it's family. I don't really kasi I don't go out much. So, my concept of everything is just really within, the family. And really trying to know myself talaga better. The universe really exposing me to the right people.
Mhm.
Um, because when I really kasi I have a lot of schoolmates, I know parang hindi man lang tinanggap na lang nila na ganito ako, I don't need to talk about it kasi eto na yun. 'Di
Mhm.
ba parang ako naman hindi mo ba naisip bakit? Or 'di ba, are you really gay or are you really lesbian? Kasi ako rin I was thinking maybe because I grew up talaga from kinder hanggang high school all girls lang, eh. Really no boys inside. So I was thinking maybe hindi ba because I didn't meet other men or something
Mhm.
like that. So, I had to question kasi when I decide on if I come out as a lesbian, talagang I really thought hard about it because when I say something, yun na yun eh. 'Di ba? If I come out, that's it. It's not, "Ay, today, ito lang yung nafe-feel ko." But I really had to know who I was. So, I think the universe for bringing me to UP. I didn't expect that I would pass at that university, but I think the universe said, dito ka dapat.
Mhm.
And I have to say, big factor ang UP Safo. That really helped me be with the right people,
Mhm.
explore things, and
Mhm.
going to
Mhm.
conferences, health, lesbian health topics, right? You would even think about that eh.
Yeah.
Because in UP, UP talaga has everything eh. So, meron kaming about um sexual health, right? And you really think about those things.
Mhm.
So it's really about being with the right people who also are discovering themselves
Mhm.
and just not, you know, not always the happy parts, fun, party,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it's about really knowing who you are.
That's
'Di ba? Then
nice.
yes. So
I'm
that's why
glad.
I think UP Safo, everyone that I met, yung sobrang advocacies nila is really just helping the community, right? And knowing about Pride March kasi I think I
Yeah.
also like watching, foreign news and
Mhm.
reading about that. So Pride March but wala dito sa Pilipinas niyan. You hear about it, 'di ba?
You
So
know,
it's just
we're
really
very, yeah.
yes.
I think we're
Okay,
very
we can
fortunate
proceed.
actually.
Yes.
We're very fortunate that our lives went into that direction.
Totoo.
Cause, I mean, that part of my life, or at least that relationship, is not very nice experience, but what came along with it, being active in the community, meeting all the older lesbians,
Like-minded people.
building this org, UP Sappho Society, having these, you know open forum, and
Focus
like,
group discussion.
lectures and all these things, and just really solidifying our identity as lesbians was very important, because there's a tendency, especially now that being gay is so celebrated, na parang party-party lang siya. Like, but do you really know deep inside? Like, do you really learn, your love for yourself? Like, what lesbian politics na naman, di ba?
Yes.
Napaka-deep, but
Deep talaga.
it's so good that we went through that, because then we have a firm foundation of our gayness, na parang hindi lang siya parang bara-bara. No, people have been doing this for a long time. You have role models, you have resources, you know where
Yes,
to find it. Kasi parang it's so easy na parang you look up to the wrong people,
true.
right? Tapos, it will skew your whole perception and also change the direction of your life. 'Di ba? Kasi kung kunyari napilitan, alam parang the only thing that you're seeing is like, Stone Butch and Ultra Femme, and those very strong rules that are in place. It dictates the rest of your life. It dictates your level of
That's so
happiness,
true.
'di ba? Right? So we're fortunate to have been exposed to all of that, I think.
Yes, and you become kasi open to everything eh.
Mhm.
Exactly. Kasi nga, ako rin, growing up, it was really butch femme, period.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And then you see the feminist lesbians pa, di ba? They're very strong. And then,
Mhm.
so, being, and that discussion kasi, ang galing eh. Kasi you respect each other's
Mhm.
thoughts, di ba? And then, when a foreign information comes in, it's not like, "Ay wala, hindi na ako
Hindi ako
makikinig
'yan,
diyan,
hindi
hindi
ako
ako 'yan." Na
diyan.
parang hindi, it's not like, "Oh
Right?
sige, kuwento ka pa, ano ba 'yan?" 'Di ba?
Uh-huh. And
you
you
are
understand.
open, you understand, then that it really helps you, especially now. If you grew up in that environment, the information you get right now is
Yeah.
so different from what we had, right? Yung
Eh,
L word dati is so different from the L word now. The, 'di ba?
mhm.
Ang dami ng pwedeng pag-usapan ngayon, and there's a new whole revolution, especially nga gender,
Yeah.
'di
I think
ba?
that it was also good that we were exposed to not just lesbians, but the whole entire spectrum. Trans
Yes.
people, bisexuals, especially
But
also gay men. Kasi kung naka-pigeonhole ka and you're only exposed to lesbians, it's so easy to say, ay, iba yan, mga bakla yan. Like they're different or they're lower or parang, like you don't see other queer people as part of the whole community. You're not welcoming, you're not understanding. And if you don't understand others, trust me, you're not going to understand yourself.
yourself. That's what I learned from
It's
Mikisato.
all, yeah, it's all part of it. And you can't just look at your own experience or the experience of the people exactly like you, right?
Yes.
You have to look at everyone's experience in order to understand.
So then last yung about the confidence is what I learned from us again is like if you're not confident of who you are, then the other people will be confused too. If you're confused, sila
Yeah,
rin mako-confused, right? So
diba?
if you're confident already of
Kung
who you are, then you'll
alanganin
say,
ka.
okay, parang, oo, exactly. Kung alanganin ka, alanganin din sila.
Yeah,
Pero pag sinabi mong ganito ka, eto ka,
ganito
okay.
ka.
Ganun siya eh. If they
Oo
don't
nga,
like you, they don't like you
totoo.
because they know who you are.
That is
Yun siya.
actually very
I
true. And also, I experienced that. Like, kung may nagtatanong sa tapos parang ikaw, hindi mo alam kung closeted ka or whatever. It's parang hindi, roommate lang kami or whatever. Parang sila parang, oh shit, it's something to be ashamed of. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. So I don't want to talk about it. Well, na-offend ka ba when I say you're a lesbian or whatever? Pero kung pumunta ka na, hi, I'm a lesbian. Di ba
okay.
parang sila parang, okay, you're a
O tapos na.
lesbian,
Okay,
whatever. It's the
exactly.
same as like now when I say like my wife and I, this is
Yes.
my wife. There's no confusion. I'm calling her my wife. So you should
Tapos.
say my wife too. But sometimes I find that sometimes I say my wife and they insist on partner. And I say, I'm already saying my wife. There's no ambiguity here. I am not scared of the term. So if you have a problem with it, that is your problem, right? But if you're like, well, she's my special
Mm.
friend, you know,
Gulo. Sila rin makakaguluhan, 'di ba?
diba?
They won't talk.
Right?
That's it. So ikaw, how did you shake off that hatred for your body as a woman?
I think I'm very fortunate because eventually I met partners who actually desired me as a woman and allowed me to desire them as women as well. This is still I think to this day a little bit hard because of very strong norms of the butch femme relationship, right? Because it still very much exists in Philippine society. Kahit na abroad, there's still a lot of like the very strong, the butch and the femme. Even now, I'm so old now. I've lived in the States for over 2 decades. And the people that we're meeting over here, ano ka ba? Butch ka ba? Femme ka ba? Hindi, femme ka eh. Hindi, ikaw yung girl. Yung may mga ganun pang definition na parang hindi ko na na-encounter. I guess being in New York, it's not a topic anymore. I guess maybe deep into the Filipino community, medyo pinag-uusapan pa yun. Pero yung now na parang I'm reminded that someone is actually asking me to pick a category. Medyo parang, ano ba yun? Parang feeling ko, bumabalik ako sa UP Safo. Feeling ko college ako ulit na nag-explain ako na parang, no, it doesn't have to be whatever you want or whatever. So again, it's still very strong in our culture. And especially when we were younger, I've dated butch women who were not comfortable with their bodies. They wouldn't let me acknowledge their femininity. They wouldn't let me desire them for their bodies kasi nga either feeling nila they're not comfortable with their body or they feel maybe they're actually trans and they just don't know it, but basically they're just not comfortable. They don't want to their breasts to be touched, to be affirmed na, oh, you're a woman and that you get pleasure from that, or someone is getting pleasure from you being a woman. There's, I've dated, butch women who are like that. So in the same way, I've dated women who wanted me to handle them the way men do, which I can't do because I'm not a man. Actually, when I was young, nasabihan ako actually ng isang taong kakilala nating dalawa ay blind item. Actually, I was dating this girl, and then sinabihan niya ako na hindi ka kasi marunong humawak ng babae. And I didn't know what that meant, right? Kasi I just felt like, well, I'm a woman and I'm dating a woman. Like, we're just going to do, what comes natural to us. But nung narinig ko yun, hindi ka marunong humawak ng babae, ako parang, paano humawak ng babae? Like, I guess she was expecting me to take on the male role. Or there was some kind of like either body language or treatment or like physical whatever form that she was expecting me to take, na maybe more manly or more assertive, or maybe in gay male culture to be the top or aggressor or whatever it is, just more butch, I guess. So I guess nung time na yun, alam ko na hindi kami bagay because I don't know, were we both them or whatever it was. That really got cemented in my brain na hindi ka marunong humawak ng babae. So paano ba yung humawak ng babae? I guess kailangan makapars ako or something, that should I open doors or something, like, I was really perplexed by that, but now I know what she meant. Kung nasan ka man, diyan ka na lang. So I think the more comfortable I became as a woman-loving woman, the easier it became for me to kind of stand my ground in relationships. Kasi alam ko na from the very beginning, that I'm not compatible with the woman I'm dating. Iba yung hinahanap niya, or she has expectations that I can't fulfill, or she wants to be held or whatever in a certain way. For example, kung one way siya, either receiver, meron din siya. Actually, it's that same one who
Kasi ano
said,
ko na.
who said na hindi ka marunong humawak ng babae. Siya din nagsabi na, you know naman that I don't, go down. Tapos ako parang, what? parang, what? What? Isn't that the point? Parang, oh shit, like, what did I get myself into? So parang, ano yun? Ako lang yung gagawa? Like, parang, okay, so hindi tayo bagay. Mga ganyan, one-way receiver lang siya, or giver lang siya, which is more common. Stone butches, what they call them. I know that butch is becoming a outdated term kasi nagiging mask na siya ngayon. But there's still, older generation still know what a butch is. I do love my butches. Very much attracted to women of all kinds, especially butches. So either receiver or giver, I know that I'm not going to be compatible with them. I already know, I'm very confident from the very beginning that it's not going to be a successful relationship because I want a reciprocal relationship. Or other ones na they insist na dapat feminine lang ako parate, or I have to play the feminine role or the femme role. I do wear dresses and I can dress up and I can wear makeup or whatever. I can be feminine, but I don't consider myself femme at all. And while I'm attracted to butches, a lot of butches can't handle that. They can't handle na, I guess you say, I can cross over. I am not always feminine. I don't even think I'm feminine a lot of the time, especially pag nakapambahay ako. Mukha akong karpentero. But anyway, kwento, I do have an ex na nagagalit siya dati when someone would say, pareho kaming butch. Or they would say, oh, butch kasi yan si Kier or whatever. Tas parang they feel like it reflects on them that if I'm butch or seen as butch, then that means they're femme.
Wow, ang
Merong ganong
complicated, no?
concept. And you know, I thought that that was an old-fashioned way of thinking, but actually I'm meeting people right now na ganon.
Hmm.
Yung parang hindi, yung butches, their femme girlfriends can't cut their hair. Nagagalit yung butch pag nagpagupit yung girl ng short hair kasi nagiging butch daw. Tapos their friends teach them na parang butch na yata yung jowa mo eh. Ibig sabihin nun, femme ka na. Yung parang so twisted na parang, are you that fragile? And is your identification or your lesbian identity so fragile that your girlfriend's haircut will make you femme? Kasi kung ganon, napakadali naman no identity mo. Yung mga ganong complications na like,
Sobra.
I guess we're older now or maybe masyado tayong involved. I just feel like I don't have time for that kind of debate
I know.
anymore. Diba? Parang it's such a waste of time. Can we just have sex? Can we just all have sex, diba? Parang can we not talk about ano
True.
ba, haircut mo, who's top, who's bottom, who's the giver, who's the receiver? Can we just all just have fun and just figure it out without all these technicalities, you know?
Correct.
So yeah, and so again, to clarify, I don't identify as butcher fan, pero may mga strict and inflexible na concept kasi yung mga tao. And people like to say, because I have short hair, butch na ako kaagad. Or femme na ako because they think, and maybe from the outside, they think that I am the more submissive partner because, I don't know, maybe mahinhin ako sometimes. But I'm definitely not femme. And I would also hate to be boxed into that category because my partner's insecure and won't allow me to be myself. Like, I think that's very sad if I have to like force myself to fit into some kind of box for the comfort of my partner. Because that shouldn't be my problem. Diba?
Yeah,
We're just
sobrang interest.
incompatible. Right?
Yes. Sobrang interesting because I was also thinking about your stories, no? Swerte rin ako na naging partner for my first sexual encounter. Yes, may
Yes,
ganon.
Nax! Kailan pa yung episode natin ng sex?
Malapit na because umpisa na ito eh. But it's just interesting na we didn't even think about that. Well, clearly, mas butch ako doon.
Yeah.
Pero when we wow, talagang
Nax! Game!
iba.
Kwento.
So parang really good. I think it was a really good first encounter. It was just us enjoying our bodies. And
So,
then wala talaga,
walang discussion.
walang discussion. Talagang yun na. Exactly.
Swerte
We
mo
didn't
nga
talk about
talaga
it.
kasi walang parang, uy, no,
Wala.
I'm not going to do that or
Not
whatever.
yeah, wow. She just did what she wanted and I was
Wax,
just like
wow.
I discovered a lot of things. I'm like, "Oh, yes, I like that. Okay, I like that
Ang
too."
swerte mo talagang tao.
Ang
Because
swerte ko talaga.
parang
I
feeling ko
know.
kasi ang daya naman. Kasi parang feeling ko ako, ang dami kong, ang daming keme kasi nung mga first partners ko. Ang dami kong
Yun.
ano-ano.
But I think that one kasi nga, I think because nga, sige na, high school kasi yon, 'di ba? So parang I think wala pang ganun, yun nga, wala pa yung politics. It's just
Mhm.
about our attractions. We were just really in love with each other, I think. I think it was just that. And then we just want to
Yeah.
discover our bodies, parang ganon. In the heat of the moment. Ganon
Nak!
lang. Kasi kami lang nun sa
Kailangan
bahay
more
eh. Di ba?
kwento.
Exciting.
More kwento
Next
about
time.
the heat of
Oo,
the
more
moment.
kwento
Parang
yan next time. But
kailangan.
I was just thinking about that na, oo nga, no, interesting. And then, I had a partner din na butch looking. Pero imagine mo yung short hair, what if si Charlize Theron yun? Hindi mo pa rin gugustuhin? Pareho kayong short hair? Excuse me, di ba? Parang, it was just, ang labo. Exactly. Ang galing ng scenario, parang yung confidence mo na parang insecurities mo sa butch, lesbian.
Yeah.
Ang labo lang nung thought. Kasi that's women loving women. Di ba?
Maswerte
And
lang tayo because our foundation is really different.
exactly. I learned so
Because
much
I
talaga.
think
Nipisa
we
ko.
learn to be secure in ourselves and not abiding so much in the the straight world kasi yun, based on the straight world, di ba? Kaya
Yes.
ganon, male and female. So, you have to do this or else. But at least the way we were trained talaga yung the
Wait,
what we were exposed to made us
yeah,
secure and made us see that there's so many ways of identifying, of being a lesbian, of just living and not being bound by all these things. But
galing.
I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
since butch ka, confirm na butch,
Confirmed.
butch ka. Have you encountered or spoken to lesbians na butch or stone butch ayaw magpahawak? Like, I want to know, since you're butch, what do you think is behind this? Before, when I was younger, I thought that it's just because they see themselves as male and they don't want to be touched as a woman. But then I learned later on that it's really so much more than that. What's your experience with the whole stone butch thing?
Experience actually, if you really think about that, yun yung parang internal homophobia ko.
Mm-hmm.
Na I didn't want to be parang acknowledged as a stone butch kasi hindi ako gano'n. Parang gano'n, na parang kasi nga ang dating ng sa kanila is like, parang feeling ko gusto nila maging lalaki, and
Uh-huh.
I was not that.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, hindi naman ako hindi ko sila magiging friend, but I didn't want to identify as a stone butch.
Mm-hmm.
Kaya when I was, younger, I would always say, "Soft butch ako, ha." 'Yun. So right now, at this age parang, "Huh? Basta butch." 'Yan. So right now, I already parang I'm already wondering why kailangan ko pa ng i-change 'yan or i-address 'yun. Pero butch lang talaga ako, period, gano'n. But during that time, yes, I don't know anyone naman na yung talagang personal na nagkukuwento because, stone butch won't talk about their sex life, really. I don't think I haven't had encounters na with butch who talk about our sex lives, no. Usually I
Oh.
would talk about it with androgynous femmes, 'yan, like yung sa UP Safo and but yun nga, that's why nga kasi nga the people I know don't talk about themselves. It's just like, "Ganito na ako, alam niyo na yun. We don't need to talk
Mm-hmm.
about that." So, that's why I'm so happy I met the right people because we get to talk about it. So, but ang alam ko about kuwentos, exactly, na parang 'pag nahawakan na sila at may boobs, na ano na, babae sila, 'di ba? Na na confirm na babae pala sila kasi may
Mm-hmm.
boobs sila. So, they don't want that. And ang alam ko is they don't even remove any piece of
Of
clothing.
clothing. Oh, totoo nga yun. Ang dami kong kakilalang
Grabe!
ganyan na hindi naghuhubad.
At all, sabi ko, "Paano yun 'pag may zipper?" I mean, the the femme is like completely naked. What if nakamaong? I mean, ako siyempre mga iniisip ko talaga visual, 'di ba? Na parang, how can you take care of this person? You're gonna hurt.
Do you?
I I don't
I
understand.
felt like I heard
Like,
somebody say like, "Bakit hindi naghuhubad? Have you ever like, did you ever like grind up against a zipper? Because masakit yun."
exactly, yun ang thought ko, 'di ba? Na parang, that's so hard. And then yun, I don't think, yun nga. So, yun lang alam ko. Not person I know, but kuwentos and siguro kuwento rin ng mga naging partner ko, naging partner nila.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Oh,
yun yung
yun ang
alam
kwento.
ko, yung
Because,
kuwento.
ngayon, I guess maybe because I'm also older and I'm meeting a lot of new people, they do talk about their sex lives, the butches, and they actually say talagang hindi sila nagpapahawak because they feel like only the femme should be touched.
Hmm,
Because, yun na nga, I guess for them, they're the male. They actually say, I'm the boy.
hmm,
So I don't know kung given the chance, would they have identified as trans when they were younger, kung if that was available to them. But that's still a language that they use, that I'm the guy in the relationship. Although there are some lesbians that are still one way, and not necessarily because they feel like they're the guy, but because I feel like they just, being a butch lesbian, you kind of, you become hardened, and you're so used to partners who see you as male even though you're not male. So even if sometimes na, oh yeah, it's so nice to be touched, it's so nice to be naked with your partner, diba? Isn't that the whole point of it? Like, it's not really, I mean, of course sex is great, orgasm is great, but
Yeah.
I feel like the actual experience is the closeness that you have with
Yes.
someone, intimacy that you share. I feel like it's so hard to do that if you have clothes on, because you're not, feeling your
Yes,
partner's
the
skin, you're
barrier.
not feeling each other. So but I feel like for the butches, parang yun na yung the last, parang the last thing that they're protecting of themselves is like their body. Kasi what if finally, yeah, in love ka, and yeah, you took your clothes off, tapos your partner, even out of love, inawakan yung boobs mo, and then eventually, like later on, as a joke, biglang sabi, ang laki nga ng boobs mo eh. Like sometimes that can be like, can shatter their world, right?
Totoo.
Kasi yung matutokso ka, or parang, um, biglang sabihin sa'yo later on na parang, oh, gustong gusto mo nga pagka inawakan yung pekpek mo or something, yung tuksuhin ka ng gano'n na parang, oh, gusto mo nga ng doggy style, like, to kind of be relegated to the feminine role, which they've been all their lives trying to run away from. Tapos biglang someone that they care about, and for the first time, they made themselves vulnerable to this person by taking their clothes off. Tapos biglang
Yes.
you're made to feel na babae ka lang, because I imagine how, what the stigma was like, and how traumatizing that can be for
Yes.
some butches, especially if you've never felt that, na parang tuksuhin ka na parang, oh, gusto mo nga nung ganun, pinipenetrate ko yung whatever, right? I can imagine how hard that can be. So I wish that um it's more discussed, so that, among butches especially, so that there can be a more open discussion, and so more butches feel like it's not the end of the world, or you can actually have a really close intimate relationship with your partner that way, and it doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't always end up in your worst case scenario na matutokso ka, or
Yes.
right, because I really can imagine, right, kung you're like butch and you present as male, tapos biglang yung partner mo kukurutin yung dede mo, like, imagine, right?
Yes.
I can imagine how,
How
terrible,
traumatized, yes, they would really
right,
feel bad.
right, kung biglang, oh, yung boobs mo laki-laki, you know parang you work so hard to come up with this person to
Yes.
present to the world. And maybe if you're not queer, you don't experience.
Don't
We,
understand.
I feel like as queer people, we've had to create this person that we present to the world.
It's true.
That is something that we can stand up for. We can be confident about, we feel is acceptable to society, and
True.
we've done that through many many years. And if you're butch and male presenting, and you, with all your courage and all your heartbreak and all the sadness that you've felt throughout your life, you've come up with this person that you're presenting to the world, and then it just takes one girlfriend to like tease you and
Oh, yeah.
say and
Man,
say, "Oh, babae ka lang." I can imagine how
you're just
devastating
gonna
that can
you're gonna
be,
just gonna
right?
shrink. Yeah.
Right? Because again, we're very fortunate and we're very privileged to have had the background that we have, that we're very secure of ourselves. Like if
Yes.
a partner eventually, like, we start dating somebody and they tease us that way, we'll be like, "Paki ko sa'yo." Like, you already
Exactly.
know, like, you can stand up for yourself. But many people don't have that. So you
Totoo.
you hide behind layers, and for many butches, they hide behind clothes. they hide behind, don't touch me that way. I don't want it, right? But, I can imagine that it's not all about wanting to be male. There's a lot of sadness and heartbreak involved,
Yeah,
right?
trauma.
I feel like,
Exactly.
yeah, maybe one day
Daming
we can have a
layers.
guest to talk about
Yes.
this when we start talking about sex. Season two, season two.
Yes, yes. Can't wait for that.
And yeah, so yeah, like moving forward, since we're active in our communities, do you think our body issues affect us? I know for one, a lot of lesbians don't go to the doctor because they don't want to be embarrassed. So do you have any
Yes.
experience with that? Like for
Of
yourself
course.
or from friends?
Experience, it's just a funny kwento. So of course, kasi nga ako, I really go to the doctor. Kasi nga, it's important for your health. Physical
Mhm,
health naman talaga. It's just like taking care of your body. Um, of course, you go at a certain age, you really have to go to your OB/GYN. So, I do. So one time, natatawa lang ako. Mrs. Roque. Ayun yung pupunta ka dun tapos a-assume na kaagad na misis ka, ano
Philippines
mo
yan.
Philippines yan siyempre, hindi yan dito, sa Philippines. Kasi siyempre that time matanda na naman ako nun so I already started going to the again because I was exposed to friends and then they said, "You have to go," kahit
Mhm,
ayaw mo, 'di ba?
mhm,
Kasi it's uncomfortable naman talaga kahit
mhm.
straight woman yan,
Oh yeah,
it's
they don't
really
really like.
uncomfortable, they really don't like it. Um, but that's my funny kwento. And then, yung lang sa akin is, I don't mind, right? If they see me, ay, ako yun, pero hindi ako misis. Mga gaganon lang naman ako, di ba? Tapos, it's so hard to answer questions, di
Mhm,
ba? Na parang, are you active? Di ba? And then, if I say yes, in my head, they're thinking I'm active with a male partner, 'di ba?
mhm,
They only know one kind of sex eh,
mhm,
'di ba? So, it's just for me na parang alam mo ba kung ano talaga yung pinag-uusapan natin. But
mhm,
I think we've also talked about this because of my company. We talk about benefits and
mhm,
healthcare. So, ang dami na namin pinag-usapan and I love our group. We're already pushing that to think about those things
mhm,
when we push on benefits. Anyway, it's the questions eh. Para I went to a conference and they said, it's just the medical questions na talagang pinag-aralan sa medicine na yun lang talaga ang questions na
mhm,
sinasabi.
mhm,
So right now, they're pushing already, some health professionals already pushing in that sense na what if nga naman non-binary kausap mo, queer, transgender, these questions shouldn't even
mhm,
exist. They should have another forms
mhm,
of questions, 'di ba?
mhm,
Because their concerns are totally different.
mhm.
So yun, it's just me being um parang, ay parang iniisip ko na parang, I don't think they understand. Yun lang sa'kin na
You
parang
feel
this
like you
question
don't
doesn't matter.
belong.
Yeah, it
You don't
doesn't
belong.
really not significant. Parang
And
feeling ko
also, you don't feel like they cater to you. Kasi
exactly.
naka-ano ka na eh. Parang
Oo,
na-categorize ka na eh. Right?
exactly. Tapos feeling ko, oh no, of course when they're gonna use the gadgets, they think I'm
Gadgets
active.
talaga
The
eh.
gadgets
Parang
talaga eh.
the speculum.
Useless, yes. Yun lang ayoko lang. Any woman doesn't like that. Yung talagang malamig na metal na papasok sa sayo, that's just not comfortable. And
Mhm.
if they think that you're active, they might really, they'll give you the bigger ones and you just wanna,
You
unlike
can
here,
ask for baby.
yes, I have to ask. Here, it's nice. It's so different here.
Yeah.
You're
Iba nga.
comfortable asking. It's different. Iba,
Well,
they really give you care.
have you been to a gynecologist in the Philippines recently ba?
In the Philippines, no.
A
Before
long
I
time
moved here.
ago.
Long time ago na yon.
Yeah. I
So,
remember also
different.
when I went in the Philippines. I even went with my girlfriend at that time. And she
Mhm.
went with me inside the room. And so like the doctor knew who was a friend of her mom or something.
Mhm.
The doctor knew that we were together. Pero nung in-examine ako, sabi nung doctor, oh, fertile ka ngayon na, no contact or else you're going to get pregnant. And my girlfriend's right there. Like, obviously, whatever. Parang aside from, you're feeling that, oh, you don't understand. I feel like there's an implication of that you're not going to treat me like medically as me being a lesbian because you don't know. You can't even entertain the fact that I'm a lesbian. So my concerns might be different,
Exactly.
right? So it's so different. I hope that it's much better now. I feel like meron ng
Meron naman
better
changes.
doctors in the Philippines,
That's
but kasi dito, ever since I moved to the States, may sa doctor's office, may questionnaire na kasi kaagad. Sexually active, your partner male or female or non-binary, how do you identify or whatever,
ba?
nandun na, right? So you don't even have to have that awkward question
Yes,
asked to you.
yes.
But just that questionnaire, alam mo na you're welcome there. Because
Exactly.
it welcomes all different kinds of experiences. Kasi kung straight lang siya, parang, do you really know? Are you going to ask me to go on the pill? Although I still go
Exactly.
to doctor's offices here na parang, oh, when's your last period? And I say, like, whatever. Just like, is there a chance you'll be pregnant? You're pregnant right now? No. Like, how do you know that you're not using birth control? No, I'm a lesbian. Tapos parang medyo minsan may shock pa sila na parang, hello, ang dami-dami ng ano. It's like, please
Exactly.
join the modern world. Right?
Totoo. Yun. So, yung mga butchers naman na kilala ko, it's just they really don't go at all.
Yun
So,
na
ako
nga
din ako
eh.
worried kasi
It
nga they
makes
don't
it,
like things being
yeah.
placed there. That's it.
But kahit
The
na
only reason
mammogram,
they don't
hindi
like.
sila nagpupunta, like to get, and which is
Oh,
very important
really?
kasi ayaw magpahawak, right? And
That's the hard part.
I wish that everybody would, but it's so hard to also push that with knowing the kind of medical care that you're going to get. Wasn't it only recently, kahit not 20 years ago, but 2003 was already the modern times
Yes.
when the Philippine Obstetrics and Gynecological Society actually issued a statement saying that lesbians are not women, so we don't treat lesbians. Parang, ano ba? Parang, ano ba
Oh my
yun?
gosh.
How can you respect
Exactly.
yourself as a doctor? And how can anyone why would anyone want to go with you, even if they're straight, if you don't know the difference between lesbians and straight women, and that you think lesbians are not women, so parang when you hear stuff like that, it's very prohibitive and very discouraging because then ang dami mo nang fears, di ba? So parang bakit ka pa pupunta and make yourself vulnerable? So then you just like, okay, never mind na lang, and then you put yourself at risk kasi
Totoo.
many things are preventable now, so many things are detectable
Yes.
now. Just go to the doctor.
Check up.
So please, if you're
Early
listening,
prevention.
um, do you have any tips that you would like to share? Since we're kind of getting to the Lola age and we have lived, quite colorful lives. So I
Yes.
want to know what you've learned so far as like, being a queer person and your relationship with your body.
It's ako talaga, it's really important. Should try to understand yourself. That's for me. It's not like, eto na ako. Yun na yun. 'Di ba? There's so much more to discover about yourself, why you react a certain way,
Mm,
right? Or uh how you feel about certain things. Um Hindi lang kasi siya upfront, 'di ba, na parang people will just understand you that way too, or how people also react towards you,
mhm,
right? Um, because it's nice to be able to just know you yourself 100%, without being awkward about anything. Um, and the discovery really, it will really help you a lot. Because I know it's some people just don't wanna talk about it anymore, especially my generation.
mhm,
Because yun na yun, yung kanya nila, 'di parang people know who I am na, they see it already, they should know. But
mhm,
'di ba, even in your relationship, 'di ba, you have to have communication all the time, 'di ba? So
mhm,
people really don't know. To be honest, they really
mhm,
don't know about it, and it's yun lang yun. I cannot naman kasi tell you should do this or should do that. It's just if you can discover yourself more, um, know about things right now like dysphoria, your gender. Gender is such a new topic, kahit old topic na siya, but now it's such a new topic, so interesting. Kahit naman
Mhm.
ako, I'm just like, oh, wow. Kasi ako
There's
rin
so many
dati talaga,
things.
so many things
'Di
talaga na
ba?
parang ang galing. And then eventually you'll think about things na parang, shucks, oo
Oo
nga
nga.
'no. Parang ako bilang mga gano'n lang ako na parang, oo nga. Parang what if talagang you didn't grow up na somebody tells you you're a boy or a girl? Will it
Mhm,
really matter?
mhm,
'Di ba na will it really matter if you know you're a boy or a girl?
mhm.
It really doesn't matter. Yun yung mga things ngayon na
Oh,
iniisip ko na
yeah.
ngayon, eh. Ang
And
galing lang na
it
parang
didn't exist before. Kahit
it
nung time natin wala naman yung concept of the gender, like it's not like now yung mga conversations that we're having now. So it's good. And
it's
actually our next episode is gonna deal more on those modern things. But
yes.
please
So
go
yun lang
on.
sa akin. For me, it's just really it's nice to discover yourself. Take time. Take time to know yourself better. You might feel happier, 'di ba? I
Mhm,
can't say naman right away, but it's a totally different thing right now because there's so many resources out there.
mhm,
Yun lang. And then eventually, you might also not judge other people. Yun din sa
mhm,
akin. Once you get to know, understand yourself better, you'll be open to other people and you'll be accepting and maybe the whole world will be a kinder place. Yun lang. So, yes, to world peace. So, ikaw, any tips you would like to
Bucon,
share?
Bucon
You
answer.
can,
Bucon
yes.
answer. For me, it's just always to keep an open mind and to listen to your feelings. Be like self-aware, listen to your body, and also know that feelings change all the time. Your body changes too. Your attitude will change. So don't be fixed on, ganito na ako talaga. I'm going to be like this forever. If you're a stone butch from the beginning of time, you don't have to be stone butch forever. Maybe you'll meet somebody na parang, who wants that kind of relationship and be open to it. Because, you don't know until you get there if you like it or not. If you don't like it, then that's fine. But maybe there's a whole world that you're missing. If if it's that, yes, there's a whole world that you're missing. Right?
True. Yes.
So um if you're a young person, find a trusted adult that you can confide in. Ask advice because you're not going to be alone and someone's already been through this before. uh I again always reiterating that I'm not trans, so I don't know the urgency of like some people's gender dysphoria or their trans feelings or emotions, but I'm always worried pag nakakarinig ako that some trans men are injecting T or testosterone without doctor supervision.
Oh, yes.
I see a
Ako.
lot of you know, Facebook groups or people on Facebook selling testosterone injections.
Naman.
And it's very dangerous. Testosterone is a very powerful drug. It can cause cancers. It can just, it can lead to so many complications. And everywhere else, um where trans people are being treated and are transitioning, like you mentioned earlier, it's a long process. And it's not just like anywhere else in the world. If you go to a doctor to transition, you're not just given hormone replacement like therapy. You're actually have to go through stages. You have to live life as your gender identity, and you have to be really sure about it, and then they monitor everything. So I hope
Yes.
that people will stay away from self-medicating in that way, even though sometimes I understand that the situation is desperate, but it's very dangerous. And I know it's hard to find a trusted healthcare professional, but you really need to see one if you're going to use medical solutions to treat your dysphoria or to help you transition. And in general, straight people, queer people, anyone, we need to take charge of our own health care, our own health. includes going to the doctor regularly, getting all the tests done, mammo, pelvic examination, pap smear for women, especially. Please don't leave it to fate. I know it's hard, nakakahiya, it's uncomfortable. It's not really. I don't know anyone who says I love going to the gynecologist. Nobody loves going to the gynecologist, but it's something that we need to do to take care of ourselves. Ang daming namamatay because of the late detection when things are so
Yes.
preventable now. So I think this is our last question I want to ask you, since we're at Lola age. If there are some parents who encounter this, meaning gender dysphoria, or signs that they might be queer, gay, lesbian, bisexual, what's your advice to parents?
Advice first, I always tell, um, my friends na 'pag yung anak nila makuwento, I think, you know what, you're doing very well. Because it's so hard for a child to just be
Mhm,
open
mhm,
to parents. So that's my advice. Make have that environment, that safe environment for your family, for your kids to be able to open up, 'di ba? You'll be surprised. Even the parents who are so open and they know that, they'll love their child and the child knows that they'll
mhm,
love them kahit
mhm,
sino man sila, it's still hard for them if they are queer, it will still be hard for them to tell their
mhm,
parents.
mhm,
It's that hard even though that, you're open about, you're the type of parents who's open, kahit anong sabihin mo, there's that fear pa rin sa child to tell you if
mhm,
they feel that they're, maybe queer or gay or lesbian.
mhm,
So continue to have that safe space for your child, and then
mhm,
always just listen first, right?
mhm,
But you're a parent, so you can always give naman your opinion, right? But
mhm,
it's always listen, and then trust your child's feelings, 'di ba? Kasi sometimes we might say, "Hindi, ano lang 'yan," 'di ba? If they open once, listen, and hopefully they open up again, right? And then now be resourceful. Um, do not always validate, wag niyo lang paligpasin whatever they're saying or make fun of what they're saying, because it takes a lot for a child to say something
mhm,
important to their parents. So that's for me lang. There's so much resources, and don't think that there's something wrong with you as a parent,
mhm,
right? If your child thinks that they think that they're different, it doesn't mean that it's because of you, right?
mhm,
They have their mind of their own. They know they have their own feelings. It's their own body. So that's just for me. Have that safe space for your kids to be able to talk to you,
mhm,
because that's important. And as nga, sabi ni Kia, kapag yung a lot of our things, the things that we decide on, the things that we are doing at an older, time, it's based on how we grew up.
mhm,
So you really just want your child to be confident, happy, have a good childhood so they can decide, and be confident doing the right decisions when they get older. So that's
mhm,
it. So it's yes, it's scary. And I like what Kia said a while ago. You can always talk to other people. There are professionals, there are
mhm,
people that you can confide in regards to if you don't understand what your child is going through.
mhm.
You're not alone. There you go. Ikaw, what can you share to parents?
For me, tips for parents. I want parents to keep an open mind and also open communication lines, just like you said. Kung teenagers, nyo palang pag-uusapan yung being gay, it's a little bit too late. Kasi they're already exposed to everything. They already know that you're very uncomfortable with the topic. That's why hindi pinag-uusapan. Dapat bata pa lang, you're already reinforcing positive ideas about queer people, LGBTQIA people, feelings about your bodies, sex, sexuality, dapat bata pa lang. I'm not saying na you're gonna teach your toddlers about sex, pero that attitude and open communication, alam ng kids kasi that you're not comfortable with it. Right?
Yeah,
And then they know once they need to talk to you, alam na nila na parang, ay, my mom or my parents can't handle this.
true.
And then it's like what you said earlier, that it's so hard even if your parents are accepting. I
Mm-mm.
always hear parents say that they're not against gay people, so their kids shouldn't be afraid to come out to them. Like saying nothing is really not enough. If you're really fine with gay people, you would be friends with them. You would have them in your home. You would have them as house guests. You would show your children that the love between gay couples is the same as the love of their mom and dad. You would really integrate gay people into your family kung talagang wala kang issue, because the kids know this. And when you say, I love you no matter what, but then they don't see anyone, you're friends with anyone, they know that you have a problem with gay people. Ang kadami-daming gay couples, you're not friends with a single gay couple. That means you have an issue with them, right? So even if you say, I love you, even if you're gay, no matter what, anak, mahal kita, tanggap kita, or whatever, but then under your breath, you make fun of gay people. You make homophobic jokes,
Yeah,
right? Pinagtatawanan mo yung Becky sa kalye. They know that it's not okay and they will not come to you if they're
true.
feeling something like that, because they know that you won't understand, and they know that you're not going to like them. Kahit ano pang sabihin mo na I accept you, if your actions say otherwise, then they're not going to come to you, unfortunately. So don't be the last to know just because your kid didn't feel that it's safe for them to tell you. Remember that kids, if they can't talk to you, they will talk to someone else for support. And not all of these people will be good for your kid. I think I'm very lucky. I didn't have that in my home, but I was exposed to good people who didn't take advantage of me. But there are some people who are not nice and who will take advantage of your child. So it's really best that you will be their number one support and not
True.
other people, is my tip for parents. Just do your job.
True. And to add, don't put any malice. Yun sa akin, I forgot that. Kasi sometimes there's always malice. Yun yung sa akin eh, parang if they talk about their penises, their vaginas, there shouldn't be malice on
Mhm,
anything.
mhm.
That's where I think everything starts, right? 'Di ba? Na parang parang mag-kinder, may friends, nag-holding hands the boy and girl. Uy! 'Di ba? Parang, huh? They're just so young.
Yeah.
They're just playing, 'di ba? For me,
Mhm,
if you put malice dun, nagkakagulo.
mhm.
So in addition to that, yes, do your job.
Do your job, parents. Great conversation again for our Pride Month
Yes,
opener.
exactly. I really had fun talking about this, about us, 'di ba? Perfect start for Pride Month.
I've always enjoyed listening to our stories and our experiences, and how our lives and the direction of our lives brought us to this, and also that it made us motivated to help others too. So hope that you all enjoyed this conversation. Hope you got something good out of it. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us again today.
Thanks for joining again. Send in your comments, your thoughts. So we'd love to hear about it. But yes, I hope that our stories are, resonate with you and, learn. And I saw that our age group gets younger and younger. So thanks for listening.
Good, good. I'm glad that we're not just for lolas, but
Yes.
you know where to find us. And thanks so much for listening. And this has been another episode of Salt and Pepe podcast.
Take care and join a Pride March, a Pride activity, and have fun this Pride Month.
Happy Pride. We
Happy
have a great
Pride.
topic next time also.
Yes.
So till next time, thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for letting us spice up your day.
Keep on listening to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
konting alat,
konting anghang,
and Pepe all around.
This has been Lia
And Shakira.
See you next time!